Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing wonderfully well and welcome back to our Sea Power Surface Action mini competition. So far we've done 6 battles. Capital ships, heavy cruisers, destroyers, frigates and guided missile boats and corvettes. This is the first round of the competition. Now, I can go smaller. We've still got fast attack craft to do, we've still got minesweepers to do, we've still got torpedo boats to do and possibly even smaller, but I've decided they're not going to really work with the rules that we've set for this competition, and that is the vessels start 50 miles apart from each other with AWACS coverage. Obviously with torpedo boats, if you've only got 5 miles range, that's not really going to work. So I think for the first round for this competition, we'll end it as we've got now and move on to the next round. Don't worry, we will visit the other types of vessels in other separate battles. So that leaves us today with the first semi-final battle, and that's going to be the winner of the capital ships versus the winner of the heavy cruisers. That's going to be Iowa Battleship from the US versus Slava guided missile heavy cruiser from Russia. Before we look at today's details, let's just address some viewer comments. First, a lot of you want a rematch of the Iowa Battleship versus the Kirov Battle Cruiser, and that's fine. I'm more than happy to do that, but let's do that after this competition. In fact, after this competition, why don't we do a whole another competition with these vessels and other vessels, if you like, with a different set of rules. So to reiterate, the rules for this competition are all vessels start 50 miles apart from each other and all have AWACS coverage. So you just click and fire. The reason is I wanted a fair battle, or as fair as we can make it. I wanted both vessels of each side to be able to fire straight away. Is that realistic? Well, no, not really, but what it does give us is a nice battle to watch, and it does very much allow us to test the firepower of each vessel type, and that's really what this competition is about. Let's test the firepower rather than the tactical ability of the vessel. Now, if you guys want a follow-up competition to this based around a more realistic use of the vessel, testing the tactical ability of the vessel, then I'm happy to do that. But what I need is for you guys to tell me what rule set you want me to use. The rule set for this competition here has worked pretty well. Only one, the frigates, did it really start to break down. But let's say, for instance, if you wanted to start the battle at 300 miles or 200 miles, you wanted to remove the AWACS so the vessels have to find each other, well, that's fine. But even on the first battle, that would completely break down. Let's take the Iowa versus the Kirov. Let's put them 200 miles apart, no AWACS. Well, the Kirov can launch its helicopters and find the Iowa ship and shoot at the Iowa ship. The Iowa doesn't have any helicopters, so it can't launch any helicopters, so it will never even get to fire any weapons. Now, it may be a more realistic way of doing it, but it doesn't really give us a very good battle. If you know one side can never even have the opportunity of firing, well, what's the point? So, as I said, I need you guys to give me a rule set for the more realistic battles that will give us a good spectacle. So I'm going to leave that with you guys because I haven't got a clue how to do it, to be honest. So anyway, let's get on with the semi-finals for this competition. Iowa versus Slava. Ooh, what a battle. So today we're going to fight in the English Channel here at the choke point between Dover and Calais. 50 miles between each class type. Iowa versus Slava. We'll start with 1v1 and then we'll do 4v4 because it's just what we've done throughout this competition, and the 4v4, as ever, will be the score that actually counts. They'll have AWACS coverage so everyone can fire to begin with. A quick reminder of the technical abilities of each craft. First, Iowa Battleship, nearly 60,000 tons and a staggering 32 knots. Surface-to-surface weapons, RGM-109B anti-ship Tomahawk. 24 of them, max range 243 miles. Subsonic missile. Also, RGM-84 Harpoon, range 65 miles. We have 9 massive 16-inch guns in 3 turrets, range 21 miles. We have 12 Mark 28 5-inch guns, and we have 4 Mark 15 20mm Sea-Whiz amidships. In terms of Slava, she is based around her surface-to-surface missiles, the SSN N12 Sandbox. 16 of them range nearly 300 nautical miles. Unlike the Iowa, of course, she has surface-to-air missiles. 64 SAN-6 Grumble, range 50 miles, as well as 40 SAN-4 Gecko or OSA missiles, close in, range 8 miles, all VLS launched. So a real potent vessel. As well as that, one bow-mounted turret with twin AK-130mm gun and 6 30mm Seawiz, 4 amidships and 2 on the bow. She is 11,500 tons and the same 32 knots. Now we need to make a prediction on those statistics, and I haven't tried the battle yet, so this is a genuine prediction. In terms of surface-to-surface missiles, they both have more missiles than they're ever going to need. 16 supersonic missiles from the Russians, 32 subsonic missiles from the Iowa. In terms of guns, obviously the Iowa wins, but it's very unlikely this is ever going to go down to guns because there's just so much firepower in the air in terms of missiles. So in terms of defense, the Slava has lots of surface-to-air missiles, so it's heavily defended, really heavily defended by surface-to-air missiles and 6 Seawiz, whereas the Iowa, obviously it does have its 5-inch guns for defense, but they are not going to be hugely effective in my opinion. They have 4 Seawiz to the Slava's 6 Seawiz. So in terms of defense, I really have to give it to Slava. That said, the Iowa is a very tough vessel at 60,000 tons, so that might help, it might not. It depends how the missiles hit, I suppose, and how the damage is modelled. If I were a betting man, I would really have to bet with the Slava. That said, for whatever reason, an even more powerful Russian vessel, the Kirov, did lose against the Iowa. So I guess it just depends how it's going to happen on the day. We'll start with 1v1. A quick look at the vessels in 3D, because any excuse to look at a friggin' battleship in 3D, I'm going to take it. Obviously, you've got 2 front turrets, 1 aft turret, 3 16 barrels each. You've got the 12 5-inch guns here, here and here, both sides. The Seawiz is there, there, there and there, so presumably she's going to go broadside to defence, broadside for defence, but we'll just have to see how that goes. In terms of the surface-to-surface missiles, she has a huge amount of them. She has Harpoon here, she has Tomahawk here, she has Tomahawk here. I can't remember which ones are the anti-land and which are the anti-ship. And the Slava, these missile tubes here, you guys tell me, actually come directly from Soviet submarines. So that's a really interesting fact. The tubes contain, of course, the 16 P500 Sandbox anti-ship missiles. The VLS is here, aft of amidships, a massive VLS set of the S300F and the Gecko missiles. The naval gun is on the bow, single turret twin 130mm barrels, and the Seawiz is an interesting configuration. Let me know what you think of this. You've got 2 there, 2 the other side, and 2 here specifically for firing bow on. So I'm guessing the reason for that is it allows the ship to either fight bow on, reducing its radar cross-section while allowing full Seawiz coverage, and it allows it to fight broadside with these 2 here, or a mixture in between, I suppose. I suppose you could be at kind of oblique angle and have 1, 2, 3, 4 Seawiz in action. 2 great looking vessels today. We have a gentleman's rule in place that we allow the vessel with the slowest missiles to fire first, so we'll start with the Iowa. And I take it in turns to play as a different coalition each battle, and I'm pretty sure it's my turn to play as the Blues, so we're playing as the Blues today. Don't worry, I won't allow it to bias the result, at least for the first phase. I ensure that the AI control all missile firing, because otherwise it would be a huge bias if I asked my coalition to fire more missiles than the AI would. So I'm going to unpause the Iowa, I'm going to designate the hostile as a target, and I'm going to set it to weapons free, and enjoy. Harpoons. And Tomahawks. Now, as a human controller, as I said, I could get it to fire all 32 missiles if I wanted, but it's unfair because I can't control the other side, so again, I just have to let the AI control it. And return fire from the Russians. How many are they going to fire in the salvo? 6 missiles. Alright, red missiles, red vampires in the air spotted. Let's see how many we fired from Iowa. I think it was 8 last time we tried this. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 harpoons and 4 tomahawks, and it's going to be the 6 sandboxes, 16,000 feet, 780 knots supersonic, and the tomahawks and the harpoons are going to be sea level. Right, we can speed up now. Obviously the red vampires will get to the Iowa quicker. In fact, I just saw them cross. Now, what has the Iowa got to stop this? Well, not a lot. A bunch of seawares and some cannon. Let's see how she's reacting. Slightly off bow angle. A sunk battleship. I think every single missile got through that time. Interestingly, she didn't put chaff out this time, viewers. Now, oh yes she did. No, she didn't put chaff out, but you guys have asked me not to interfere with the chaffing, as it should be done automatically with the AI. So if she decides not to chaff, she decides not to chaff. That's her own problem. Battleship 100% sunk. Right, let's see how the response is going to be, and very possibly it's going to be a complete wipeout on both sides, but we'll see. Now remember that although the Slava has missiles with ranges of 50 miles, these are 1980s vessels. They can't guide their missiles via a data link, they have to have line of sight, so they won't be able to fire at these missiles until about, well, I'm guessing 12 to 15 miles. Modern days with SM6s and whatnot, that will be a different story. Right, interestingly, the Russian ship is chaffing. I wonder why Iowa didn't chaff. I'm pretty sure it's going to have chaff. S-300 missiles out. Following a tomahawk here. Missile shot down. 5-inch guns or 130mm guns firing. Pause. Let's just see what stance she's taken. She's decided to turn bow on. No, again, she's slightly off bow angle. Following the leading tomahawk. Tomahawk's much bigger, obviously, than harpoons. Gunnery pretty ineffective. So she's sailing well so that she's unleashing 4 seawares. That's pretty smart. Seawares. First missile taken down. So many seawares. 4 massive seawares to bear. Wow. Freaking unbelievable. All 8 NATO missiles, US missiles, taken down. I've never actually seen it before, that all 8 would be taken down. Why? Well, presumably there was just so much defensive firepower here. S-300s were taking out missiles. I didn't see, how many. Geckos were taking out missiles. And as I said, 1, 2, 3, 4 30mm seawares were all bearing, plus the twin 130mm gun. So that was so one-sided, it was ridiculous. Iowa shot 0 missiles down. Slava took all down. Not sure what to say about that for you. I was not expected, and I did not want that result. Did not want to show you that result, but that's how it is. We run it once and we accept the result. Let's do 4v4, see if it changes. Right, again, we're playing as the blue. We're going to fire first. Enjoy. Right, so I think I counted... Right, so I assume that's 32 missiles from blue, a mix of 109s and 84s, and I think it was 20 sandboxes fired. So more missiles from blue, but I mean, it was more missiles last time. Is it going to make any difference? Iowa's in sight. What's going to happen? Iowa's with... Yeah, just kind of... No, they've pretty much gone bow on by the looks of it. I suppose whichever angle they're at, whichever aspect they're at, they're going to have two Sea-Wiz to bear, aren't they? Sandboxes, 1,300 knots, about twice the speed of sound. We have chaff. Well, two battleships completely smashed in that salvo, but... Oh. How interesting, they only targeted two. I think they only targeted two. Now, why is that? The answer is I don't know, and they might not even get any control over it. Oh dear, no. 3 battleships hit. Is that all of them? No, 2 battleships hit, 3 battleships hit, but 1 survived okay, shrugged it off, and 1 was completely unhit. We've got some time before the other missiles reach. Why is that? Well, they can fire... now, here we go. They're firing their second salvo. They can fire them at, you know, a group, but the missiles themselves will decide which target they actually go for, and they've chosen to go for 2... and 1 missile for another, and left no one untouched. This is actually how I think the Iowas won last time, when they fought against the other Russian ships. Now, again, we have no control over it. If I was playing as red, or the AI were playing as red, it would make no difference. The missiles are going to go for what the missiles are going to go for. Same applies for the American missiles. You can ask them to go for a certain ship. They won't do that. They'll get to a pre-designated place. They'll turn their own radar on, and then they'll decide what they're going to go for. We've seen it in tactical battles we've done before. It can get extremely frustrating, but it is what it is. So let's run with it. Presumably, yep, here we go. S-300's out, missiles being intercepted. Oh, it's exciting now, viewers. I really don't know who's going to win now. 32 missiles to shoot down. I think they're going to get through. Sea-Wiz. I think they're overwhelmed. Oh no, they've all gone for one. Oh. Okay, let's just pause there because I know there's some... Oh god, some vampires are just hitting now. Right, let's assess the damage here, viewers. So, of the 4 vessels, 3 were hit. Again, these missiles aren't going to necessarily talk to each other and divide up which is going for which. They'll turn their radars on and they'll make a decision which they're going to go for. And in this case, they've decided to go for 3. So, this guy here is completely cooking off. That's a sunk vessel. Is it sunk in game? Yes, it's completely sunk. This one here, number 2, has been hit. Amidships is a light. It's not sunk in sea power yet officially, but best case for the ship, I would probably say its missile systems are down. Its weapon systems are down. Ship number 3 here defended itself completely and no missiles hit. ship number 4, or is literally being hit. Is literally being hit as we speak. Let's just try and assess what damage. Okay, I think one missile hit it amidships. That's not going to be enough to sink it, but again, it's probably put its weapon systems out of action. So, 1 sunk, 2 heavily wounded, 1 unwounded. Now, unfortunately, at the same time, these missiles have been hitting here, but at the same time, the next salvo of American missiles have been fired, and we're literally catching this missile. Oh my god, as it goes into Iowa. Look at the size of the missile. That is a 60,000 ton battleship. That's, apart from supercarriers, pretty much as big as a naval ship gets. And look at the size of the missile. It's absolutely gigantic. It would do an incredible amount of damage. I might even be able to slow it down. Hit amidships, not enough defense. And another one. And it's not going to survive that. Right, so officially we have Iowa, bottom of the sea, wherever we are, the channel. I wonder how deep the channel. Oh, the channel is not very deep, look. I love it how all that's modelled, right? That is so cool. Second Iowa is nearly submerged. Third Iowa, oh dear. Massive damage, and we'll check the damage out in a minute. Fourth Iowa, massive damage. Okay, let's check the damage control. Some of you guys said I should install the improved damage control mod, but I think it's a bit unfair to do that halfway through the competition, or it might mess things up, I don't know, so, you know, let's probably just leave it. Okay, of the 3 damage control teams, 2 have been killed in the explosions, 1 is active, but I doubt we're going to save that ship from what I can see there. This ship, oh dear, looks pretty bad too. All damage control have been killed. That ship is going to sink eventually. Wow. So, Iowas are out of it, but have they fired enough missiles to take down the remaining... Oh, it doesn't look like it. Well, what an interesting battle this is. Let's play that forward. Oh dear, some more vampires have just been fired. So I thought the weapon systems of the Russians had been taken down, but at least one vessel has got its fire control radars and stuff. Whatever it needs to send these missiles out intact. And that is going to kill the rest of the ships. Probably straight out. I doubt that Iowa have any working defences. From what I saw of the damage control, it was pretty much kaput. Now, interestingly, they've all gone for 1, so... Oh, and that one's sinking. Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I mean, no one likes to see an American battleship sunk, but I'm afraid they've all sunk, viewers. Sunk? Sinking on the channel. I'm gonna have to go and salvage some serious steel from that. And on its side. Oh dear. Right. Now don't fret, because we've still got plenty of missiles and a lot, almost. Oh, look at that! 3 Russians have been sunk. Only 1 is still active. The others are fully sunk. Wow. Or at least, you know, dead as far as the game's concerned. So harpoons, small as they are, can pack a lethal punch. Now the question is, viewers, only 2 have fully sunk, 2 are on the surface, and remember, a missile doesn't know the difference between a dead ship and a live ship, only we do. So they might go for the dead ship still, and that might still happen in real life, or it would happen in real life. So, ooh, here come the S-300s. This could still be a draw. This could still be a draw, and I don't actually know what to happen. I've never had a draw before. Remember, it's the 4v4 that counts, viewers. Well, this one here is going for a dead ship, and as I said, that almost certainly would happen in real life. At least with, 1980s tech. Maybe with more modern tech, they would know the difference, but probably not, to be honest. They're all going for a dead ship. Oh, that's sad, viewers. But remember, here's the difference. We do not script these battles. We run it once. And if it seems unfair, that's life. It's unfair. I don't want to start scripting it so a certain guy, a popular guy wins. Oh dear. It's semi-submerged, but it's still a massive radar return. Oh, and one Slava gets away with it. You son of a bee. Well, that's the luck of the draw, I'm afraid, viewers. As I said, these missiles, you can't directly control which ship they go for. They will turn their radar on and they will go for whatever they decide is the biggest threat or the closest threat or whatever it is in their brains that they decide to go for. And that's what won it, right? What won it was which missiles decided to go for which vessels. And the roll of the dice was this case, that the Russian missiles went for all of the Iowas, plus they had 2 good clear salvos before I think even the first NATO or American subsonic missile reached. So what won it, I guess, is the fact that the Slavas got to fire all of the missiles that they wanted to fire, or 2 salvos should we say, before even receiving any damage. The amount of damage actually done was probably about equal in terms of how much tonnage damage was done per salvo. And the Americans on their second salvo only got 1 ship firing. So let me try and say that again. I'm just trying to work this in my own mind, viewers. So Reds got 2 full salvos fired, and I think actually a 3rd small salvo. Blues only got their initial salvo fired, and then a small second salvo. So Reds got to fire more missiles because their missiles are twice as fast, or more than twice as fast. So that really favours a fast missile, which would have even more of an impact if the ranges were longer. 200 miles, that's going to have even more of an impact. So I didn't think about that in the predictions, but I guess that makes complete sense, right? If you've got faster missiles, you can fire more of them in the way that they fire. Now I know some of you are going to say, well, the Iowa, why didn't I control it to fire all 32 missiles at once? That would be unfair, viewers, because I can only control one side. I can't make the Russians do that. That just wouldn't be cricket, as we say in my country. Let's try and keep it as fair as possible. So, a narrow victory of 1 vessel for the Russians winning. It's sour to see, but rules are rules, viewers, as the last Iowa touches the sea floor. Right, well, that's the battle done, viewers, but let's see a galleon fight purely for fun. And off we go. Wow, someone's already started firing before the game even loaded. So, same fight, but I've put them more or less broadside, 4 or 5 kilometers away from each other. Press go, see what happens. Who's going to win, viewers? You know what? I'm not even going to predict it. Let's just go. Oh, look at that. It was the Americans firing their Sea Whiz. Now, this guy here. The Sea Whiz will do damage, but not much damage. Look at the bullet holes all modelled. 5 inches going. When are the 6? Oh, look at that roll! He's trying to get his big turrets to bear. Again, I'll let the AI play. I'm not going to interfere because it'll buy us the result. And the first salvo hits the Slavas! Oh my goodness! And look at that. 1 salvo of 16 inch takes the entire ship down. Boom! Viewers, I have to say it, this is a bit too much fun. I'm having too much fun at this point. Friggin' leverable. Why did they turn like that? Weird angle, I don't know. Surely they should go broadside to unleash everything, right? As it turns out, it didn't really matter. Look at the arc of those 16 inches. I mean, 1 16-incher. Think how much damage that's going to do. Already, pause. That took a grand total of 1 minute and 6 seconds, including turret rotation time, which took about a minute. And that's it. All Slavas completely dead and firing ceased. The Slavas won the missile battle fair and square, viewers, and I think we've justified the reasons why they probably won that. But if you get within 20 miles gun range, I tell you what, Iowa is going to win that sucker. Good stuff. Unfortunately, the Galleon battles are for fun, obviously, and fun they are. But Slava goes through to the finals. I hope you enjoyed that otherwise, viewers, and bye-bye.